Good morning, and thank you for tuning into The Global Current. I'm Priya Bave.
And I'm Santiago Lozada.
Today in news, an update regarding the status of military operations in Iraq.
And two candidates edged their way to the top of the polls in the French presidential election.
An analysis, the implications of the impeachment of South Korea's president.
And the marginalization of Indonesia's waria transgender community.
Then, Liam Scollins brings us an interview with Jacob Abel and Efrain Vallejo, Reform Party candidates for Seton Hall's Diplomacy Senator seats. Up next, Liam Scollins reports on the narrowing of the French presidential election.
As the April 23rd election draws near, one thing has become evident. Either Emmanuel Macron or Marine Le Pen will be the next French president. Following an unprecedented campaign season, these two outsiders have shocked the political establishment and all but cemented their places as the top two candidates to move to the second-round runoff on May 7th. The candidates from both of France's largest parties, Benoît Hamon of Le Parti Socialiste and François Fillon of Les Républicains, have lagged behind in recent polls. While Hamon's far-left policies alienate many French voters, Fillon's credibility has been completely destroyed, as he was formally placed under investigation and charged over claims of giving his family members fake, taxpayer-funded jobs. With France's center-left party receding in popularity as it vows to move further left, and France's center-right party lacking the trust of many voters, the far-right party, Le Front National, and the newly established centrist movement, En Marche, have risen to be the top choices for French voters. France utilizes a runoff system in which the top two candidates of the first round advance to the second round. The winner of the second round must garner more than 50% of the vote. A recent report from The Telegraph reported centrist Macron beating the far-right Le Pen in both rounds of the election. Prior to this scandal-ridden election cycle, neither Macron nor Le Pen were given much chance of winning. However, their outsider personas have enabled them to differentiate themselves from the establishment politicians who many French voters hold accountable for France's stagnating economy and high unemployment rate. During a televised interview, Macron explained the differences between himself and his main rival, Le Pen.
Donc, Marine Le Pen, c'est un mensonge sur pattes.
Marine Le Pen is lying about this. While she says that globalization is bad for France, she still expects other countries to support the French economy and buy French products. This is why I believe in the European economy. I support a strong Europe, not a weak Europe. We need a European economy that functions well. We must protect a strong European economy. Macron, who is already the most popular among the French electorate, is poised to gain the endorsements of several key French politicians in the coming weeks, while on the other hand, Le Pen has had to fight off allegations of impropriety similar to those against Fillon, in addition to accusations that she and her party are openly racist and anti-Semitic. Although Macron trails Le Pen in the first round of some polls, he beats her in the second round runoff by margins of 15 to 20%. This is Liam Scollins reporting for The Global Current.
And now, Joseph Orico reports on the current status of armed conflict in Iraq.
Recently, in the war with ISIS in the Middle East, Iraqi forces have been pushing through the city of Mosul against the Islamic State forces. Mosul, a key point in the war with the militant group, has been under ISIS control since June of 2014. Retaking Mosul, Ramadi, and Fallujah form the three objectives in Iraqi forces, according to the article published by The Times. Ramadi was liberated in February 2016 and at the time had been held by ISIS for 7 months. However, the operation to retake Ramadi lasted longer than planned due to the presence of 250,000 civilians, whom ISIS had prevented from leaving the city. These setbacks occurred in spite of the Iraqi security forces' numerical superiority to ISIS of 10 to 1. ISIS continued to take civilian hostages during its retreat and has created a hostage crisis in Iraq. Fallujah was the first major Iraqi city that ISIS had claimed, it then being dubbed as the birthplace of ISIS. It should be noted that the city of Fallujah is only 40 miles from the capital of the country, Baghdad. The Caliphate used the detail to their advantage, sending several car bombs into the city to do massive damage. Intelligence also suggests that the city of Fallujah is a stronghold that houses many of the ISIS leaders and their families during their occupation of the city. However, in June of 2016, anti-ISIS forces and pro-Shiite forces teamed up together for a 5-week operation to retake the city and killed 1,800 ISIS fighters and took over 1,000 prisoners, according to a report by the Wall Street Journal. However, in the recent push through Mosul, many Islamic State fighters have now been trapped in the western half of the city with no escape due to the U.S. envoy blocking off the only escape from the city. Currently, coalition airstrikes Currently, coalition airstrikes target portions of the city housing ISIS fighters. Yet the collateral damage of the war between ISIS and Iraq forces remains a concern, according to an interview with the Brigadier General Abbas al-Bajouri with CBS. The UN reports hundreds of families slaughtered for not complying with Islamic State orders in the area. The President of the United States now meets with military officials to determine the best possible way for the United States to contribute to the final push for defeating ISIS, claims a report by the Military Times. Courses of actions include providing more helicopter support to the area and establishing refugee camps for citizens of the afflicted countries. The United States may also send more troops to Syria. This is Joseph Arico reporting for the Global Current.
Next this morning, Trevor West analyzes implications that the impeachment of South Korea's president may have on regional and global politics.
On December 9, 2016, the South Korean National Assembly initiated the impeachment process for now former South Korean President Park Geun-hye based on charges of bribery and unlawful corporate manipulation, among other charges. Immediately afterwards, Prime Minister Hwang Kyo-ahn assumed the role of president while the Constitutional Court of Korea entered the decision-making process for the impeached president. On March 10, 2017, the court indicted Park Geun-hye, resulting in her official and final removal from office. A judge from the National Court announced his final decision on March 10th.
피청구인의 위헌 위법 행위는
The negative impacts and ripple effects of the claimant's illegal acts are critical, so we can say the advantage we gain from dismissing the claimant will be overwhelmingly larger. In this respect, we are announcing a ruling with unanimous opinions of justices. We dismiss the claimant, President Park Geun-hye.
On the domestic front, this incident has sparked a growing divide between supporters of Park Geun-hye and protesters calling for her arrest following the court decision. Supporters of the former president have physically clashed with both police and protesters. This has led to the unfortunate death of 2 protesters along with several injuries after some supporters rushed the police line attempting to breach the court. Fears of communism and weakened national security define the concerns of supporters of Park. Supporters of Park believe that she is a strong leader able to stand up against North Korea, but fear that other more left-leaning political proponents are not up to the task. A supporter of Park voices his view as to why he is saddened to see her go.
She did her best, her life has been sacrificed to build this country free from communists.
However, overall in South Korea, most were happy to see Park impeached and removed from office. The last and only other South Korean president to have been impeached was Roh Moo-hyun. However, this impeachment was overturned on May 14, 2004. Thus, the impeachment and removal from presidential office of Park represents a shining example of how a democratic state can function and serves as a reminder that political corruption and scandal will not be tolerated by the people. One individual happy to see Park impeached and removed from office said the following remarks.
President Park made a lot of mistakes. The people judged her and the right decision was made. We hope this never happens again.
A North Korean defector interviewed by Daily NK viewed this as a potentially good situation for North Koreans in realizing the fallibility of leaders, which may eventually lead to the collapse of the Kim regime. However, the defector also recognized that the impeachment and removal of Park from office may offer an opportunity for North Korean attack or aggression. Regardless of the scandal surrounding former President Park Geun-hye, there are serious domestic and international implications that should be considered. Firstly, the looming threat of North Korea in light of this could be interpreted as an apt opportunity to attack South Korea. In addition, North Korea's further development of its missile technologies alongside its recent tests launching ballistic missiles into the Sea of Japan has both Japan and South Korea anxious. North Korea's continued nuclear development is also a major concern. On May 9th or sooner, the next South Korean president will be elected, with the current estimated candidate to win being Moon Jae-in. Moon has expressed his desire to increase dialogue between North Korea and South Korea while also trying to resolve the awkward situation with China concerning the recent implementation of the THAAD anti-ballistic missile system. While increased dialogue with North Korea has in the past proven to improve communications and relations, it has not stopped North Korea's development of nuclear weapons. Park followed a conservative realist perspective in line with the U.S. and its military strategy. However, given that Moon has expressed his desire to maintain good U.S. relations, it is hard to see him removing the THAAD system should he be elected. As it currently stands, the successful impeachment and removal of Park from her presidential position in South Korea serves as an indicator of how democracies can and should act in dealing with corruption. However, despite Park's corruption, it remains to be seen as to whether new presidential candidates such as Moon Jae-in will be able to deal with North Korea in a way that will ensure South Korean security. Given the pressures on South Korea to stay guarded against potential North Korean attack and to remain in good relation with the U.S., it is unlikely that a future South Korean president will remove the THAAD system. However, how the future South Korean president will handle its interactions with North Korea and China remain to be seen.
Next up, Morgan Mount reports on the discrimination that Indonesian transgender women, known as waria, face.
Mami Yuli is the lead manager and protector of Indonesia's transgender women, often known as warias. Over 2016, pivotal changes were made concerning LGBT rights and issues in Indonesia. Thus, Mami Yuli's job has been made significantly more difficult. Mami Yuli was born as Eulanius Reblot on the distant island Popa to the east of Indonesia. At 11 years old, she realized that she was attracted to men. However, it wasn't until she was 18 that she moved to Jakarta as an openly transgender woman. According to BBC News, warias often work as prostitutes because they are usually rejected by their families.
My name is Alia. My real name is Alexander. I have 5 brothers and I'm the youngest. When my family knew that I'm a waria, their response was horrible. It broke my heart, but it did not break my life goal. They just said, "How could you become like that? Why did you decide to be like that?"
In addition, Indonesia practices a stricter version of Islam, which has been contributed to further discrimination against warias. Rather than becoming a prostitute herself, Mami Yuli became their protector. In this guardian role, she has faced severe opposition and violence. She recalls incidences where she has been stripped naked, beaten, and slashed in the face with a knife. One particularly hard moment led to her own brother placing a gun to her head and threatening to kill her. These abusive and life-threatening situations are not unusual for the LGBT community in Indonesia. The News Lens reports that while religious vigilante groups have often threatened the lives and well-being of LGBT people, 2016 saw several government politicians issuing public statements explicitly condemning LGBT persons and behaviors. Following this, Family Love Alliance, an Islamic pro-family group, filed legal action to outlaw homosexual practices, identity, and adultery. One of the more recent actions taken by politicians to protect young Indonesians is an attempt to amend the 2002 broadcasting law so that both television and radio programs and advertisements containing LGBT talent, expressions, and attractions are banned. Along with gradually more aggressive government actions, public sentiments have also become increasingly hostile towards people of non-normative genders and sexualities. However, a report for the Huffington Post notes that the most interesting feature about warias in Indonesia is their visibility in daily life despite the increasing oppression. Transgender people do have the opportunity to live openly, especially in the beauty and entertainment industries. In fact, one of Indonesia's biggest celebrities is a waria named Doris Galama. The same reporter also discovered that a main difference between transgender women in the U.S. and those in Indonesia is that many warias are not interested in sex reassignment surgeries for religious reasons. There's the belief that because they are born as men, they must return to God as men. Unfortunately, warias are ultimately the main target of stigma, violence, and discrimination in Indonesia. Less tolerant members of society continue to condemn and attack transgender women, and the national government does not take action to protect its transgender citizens.
For me, I have been immune to such abusive cases because I have learned from experiences. Those experiences taught us to become a better person. I have experienced that case. I was being beaten up, was being mocked, but I was still able to show my nice and positive attitude. Please do not insult waria because they're also human. They need their life, they need their space.
However, people like Mami Yuli are committed to ending the injustices. As the first waria to hold a master's degree in law and to have started Indonesia's first care home for elderly transgender people, Mami Yuli is a powerful figure of inspiration. This is Morgan Mount for the Global Current.
Finally, this morning, Liam Scollins brings us an interview with Jacob Abel and Efrain Vallejo, Reform Party candidates for Seton Hall Student Government Association Diplomacy Senator seat.
Good morning, Global Current listeners. My name is Liam Scollins. Today, I'm sitting with two candidates for Seton Hall University's Student Government Association's Diplomacy Senator seats, Jacob Abel and Efrain Vallejo. Jacob and Efrain are running on the Reform Party ticket. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to have you here this morning. So, tell me a little bit about yourselves.
So I'm Efrain Vallejo, and I'm running for Diplomacy Senator. I am a freshman school diplomacy, obviously, and I'm from Sacramento, California.
And I'm Jacob Abel. I'm also a freshman diplomacy major, and I am currently a freshman senator in the Student Government Association, and I am from Charlotte, North Carolina.
All right, what prompted you two to run for office?
So I decided to run because I wanted to be able to give a voice and proper representation to the student body and specifically School of Diplomacy students, and I felt that this was the way to be able to do it and be able to solve many issues that we all face and be there for the students to be able to solve them.
I'm running for similar reasons as Efrain, just giving the students more of a voice in all of the organizations, SGA and in the School of Diplomacy. There really needs to be more increased transparency between all levels of the school. And I've been asked multiple times on multiple occasions, what is SGA? And that's just not acceptable to me because we need to have our students know who represents them.
All right, so let's dive right into the issues. As stated on your official party platform, you hope to increase financial accountability at Seton Hall. In this regard, what area of the university's finances do you hope to improve?
Well, one thing we really want to change specifically about finances is club funding. So clubs make up a huge part of the school community. Everyone is involved in at least something, and we believe that the arbitrary formulas that are used now do not work. They don't give the proper amount that is needed for each club to function throughout the year, and so we believe that clubs should apply for funds based on the size and scope of their previously planned events. And so basically just base it on what they've done in the past. That way they will for sure get what they need to be able to perform, to function throughout the year and, be there for the students and be active throughout the school year. We also want to move and reduce the money from the co-sponsorship and operational budgets within SGA and move it instead to the club budget allocations. That way, whenever clubs request funds for events or for things they want to put on, we'll have more access to do it. I've served on finance committee this semester and the last semester, and it really is heartbreaking when there's clubs who want to put on these really great events, but because of limited funds, we can't provide them with everything they need. And so, by doing this will give SGA a chance to provide more for the clubs and allow them to put on the events that that the entire student body benefits from. And so yeah, that's one thing we want to do.
Your party's platform also states that you want to place a cap on tuition and improve notification regarding certain fees and expenses. How do you plan to work with the administration to accomplish this?
Yeah, so a big part of our platform is to have more transparency with the school regarding finances, to know where our tuition dollars go, where does all this money that we pay, where does it go to? And, we plan on being able to accomplish this by creating a better relationship with the administration and trying to create more dialogue with them. That way the student body, can have their voice and opinions represented, and it will allow us, to be able to easily access the administration if we need answers, if we need help, and I feel like we believe that that's something that's good and, that needed for a student government association. And we also want to get in touch right away and get to know the new president that's coming in. That way we can have that relationship as soon as he's in there, and we could be able to properly represent the student body, as soon as he comes in, and have that relationship that is vital between SGA and the administration that will truly allow us to communicate the issues that students have and be able to find the answer to those questions, such as, where does all our tuition dollars go to? And, and much more.
All right. And another aspect of your platform aims to increase student representation in the administration. How do you plan to do this in coordination with the administration?
One of our biggest plans for this is having an SGA representative on the Board of Trustees and Board of Regents, which are the two biggest decision-making bodies on campus. We feel that by doing this, we'll really have a bigger voice and say in how this university runs and the direction it goes. This representative would most likely be our SGA president, as he represents the organization as a whole and is really the key figurehead of the organization. Another interesting thing that I saw was at DePaul University, where President Esteban is going. The president of SGA was actually on the selection committee for their president and that hiring process. So that's another thing to look at. And then I've heard just recently that some people think our party is trying to attack the administration, saying it's not doing enough for us. But that's not our goal. Our goal is to work with the administration because it's in the best interest of everyone at the university. We want to have a good relationship. But on the same token, we can't be afraid to stand up for the things that we want and make our concerns known.
All right. Well, some students have raised concern that the Student Government Association is not responsive to them or their voices. How do you plan to change this perception in the future?
Well, I would like to let them know that their concerns are well heard, and as part of our platform for the Reform Party, we would like to create an SGA website where complaints and questions can be filed, and more specifically, because we are running for the diplomacy seats, for diplomacy students, that means suggestion boxes in McQuaid Hall, diplomacy-only office hours where students from the diplomacy school can come and talk to me and Efrain, as well as holding town halls once a semester. That's our personal promise. We want to do that so we can hear the concerns of all the students. This also includes attending diplomacy organizational meetings such as Dulce, Meet the Dean events.
All right. In general, what is your future for the role of SGA at Seton Hall?
So we would like SGA to truly be there for the students, to listen to their concerns and serve and try to find a way to solve their issues. That's why me and Jacob, a big part of our platform for the school diplomacy is to be accessible, so that way we could list, we can know what the issues are, the issues that the students have, and try to find a way to solve them. That's why we want to have office hours at the school, at the McQuaid Hall, at school diplomacy. We want to make a town hall at least once a semester just for diplomacy students. That way, we could truly hear their needs and we could have something to bounce off and be able to truly, represent the students. And that's something that we want for the future of SGA.
And just going off of that, for the larger university, SGA should really be the voice for the students. I've heard a lot of complaints recently that SGA is just kind of, as our vice presidential candidate said recently, that it's just an arm of the administration. And I've heard that sentiment from a lot of people. We really want to represent the students and be that middle ground between them and the administration so we can voice their concerns. And for the diplomacy students, we really just want to represent them the best possible way we can and really either help them with their concerns with SGA or just help them with events that they're planning themselves.
Okay, so how can students learn more about the Seton Hall Reform Party and its other candidates?
They can visit shureform.com. There's various Instagram accounts, Facebook accounts, Twitter accounts, handles at SHU Reform. Our diplomacy accounts are at Diplo Reform.
Do you have any other candidates running for other positions?
Certainly. We have our e-board Reform Party candidates are Adrian Orozco for president, Kai Noah Spencer for vice president, Rishi Shah for treasurer, and Catherine Grundling for secretary. And then our at-large Reform Party candidates are Divine Tanamal, Catherine Morrison, Ava Iqbal, and Aisa Crump.
And for arts and sciences, we have Christian Velis, William Kunkin, Robert Serrano, Edward Mendoza, and Jordan Luis. And you could follow all of them at @SHU_arts_reform on Twitter and Instagram, and on Facebook as well.
All right. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for today. I am sitting here with Jacob Abel and Efrain Vallejo, Reform Party candidates for Seton Hall's SGA's Diplomacy Senator seats. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
This is Liam Scollins reporting for the Global Current. The Global Current would like to endorse Jacob Abel and Efrain Vallejo, who are running in conjunction with the Reform Party for Diplomacy Senators. We support the ideas on their platform and think they will benefit the students of the School of Diplomacy and the Student Government Association.
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of The Global Current. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I'm Priya Bave.
And I'm Santiago Losada.
Same time,
Same place.
next week.
The Global Current is brought to you by the School of Diplomacy and International Relations at Seton Hall University. Our executive producer is Liam Scollins, our associate producer is Morgan Mount, our news editor is John Trudeau, our analysis editor is Marissa Hutton, our technical producer is Trevor West, and our interview segment was produced by Liam Scollins. The Global Current theme song is Acid Jazz by Kevin MacLeod. You've been listening to The Global Current on WSOU 89.5 FM, Seton Hall's Pirate Radio.